Good afternoon, warriors, or good morning, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. I am B, and this is the You movement. Today, I wanted to talk about a little bit of a more serious topic, that being narcissistic abuse. Those of you that have been following my channel knows that I have had a lot of experience from the perspective of having relationship with many narcissistic individuals in my life. And so today I am coming from a perspective of trying to look at a situation of narcissism in relation to the chakra system. So if you don't know already, my background is as a Reiki Master. I started my training more than 25 years ago. And when I first discovered the teachings of the chakra system, my mind was like, amazing insights started to come to me, and I was blown away because I had been spending my entire life from the time I was a teenager seeking the answers to why people suffer, why I was in suffering, and how to get out of suffering. And the chakra system turned on a light for me that nothing else in the past that I had looked at had managed to do. And the reason for that is that I am so enthralled, as you know, they say neurodivergent people have a special interest topic, and mine is the chakra system. And the reason for that is because the chakra system encapsulates the wholeness of a person. In our society, what we have traditionally done is we divide ourselves up into parts, into body, into emotions, into mind, into soul. And then we subdivide those even further. So if you have an issue on the body and it's in my nose, then I'm going to go to a specialist. I'm going to go to an ear, nose, throat doctor. Or I'm having a general malady in my body, I'm going to go to my other doctor. And they're going to look just at my body. If my emotions are out of whack, I'm going to go to a counselor or a psychologist, and we can discuss some of my emotions that are coming up, but we're not combining the body and the emotions in our approach. Further into the mind, if you're having severe mental deficits or disturbances or bad thoughts, intrusive thoughts, coping mechanisms through cognitive distortions, we go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist specially trained in cognitive behavioral therapy. And then if we're having a spiritual crisis, we seek out our pastor, our minister, our guru, somebody who's going to help look at the situation from a perspective of the soul. But what we don't do is put all of those pieces together. And it was Gestalt that said, Gestalt's theory is the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So the holistic approach is something that has been shifting historically. And so now more people are starting to go, okay, well, I would like a more holistic approach to my health and wellness. And so I'm going to seek out individuals that aren't going to just look at me from a perspective of just my body or just my emotions. And so some of these practitioners may be, a Chinese medicine doctor or an Ayurvedic therapy, which is like the Indian approach to looking at the wholeness of the person, shamanic teachings, so much more ancient approaches to health and wellness that are coming back into the forefront. And that's the teachings of the chakra system. They're ancient teachings that have become into our level of consciousness, a level of awareness through a lot of spiritual teachings, or in my case, I learned it through Reiki, which is an energetic hands-on understanding that the energetics of the whole is combined of the energetics of the body. We are an energetic being, the energetics of the emotions, which extends out into our auric field, the energetics of the mind, and the energetics of the spirit. So I'm like huge in comparison to my physical being. And so as we look at the wholeness of the person through the perspective of the chakra system, and then I'm going to also take in and pull my own personal expertise, something I never thought that I went to. You know, I didn't sign up for narcissism BA, but I seem to have gotten an honors in it. So from the soul perspective, down here on Earth School, Soul said, okay, I want you to go down and I want you to experience these things, because you're going to sit in front of a camera on a certain day and you're going to create the bridge work between the teachings of the energetics of the chakra system and the teachings of the energetics of the narcissistic paradigm. And so I've talked in a lot of my videos in the past. Please check out my playlists, because playlists is how I divide up my videos to make it easier for you to find specific subject matter. So if you're looking for a playlist on trauma, there's one. A playlist on narcissistic abuse, please check that one out. It will relate to today's video. A playlist on the chakra system, check that one out as well. That way you can find videos that are more in alignment to what you're looking for. So in the past, I have done a lot of videos on narcissistic abuse to help educate us and identify what is happening, so that we can recognize it and see it in our own lives and take the appropriate steps to get safe on every single level. Safe in the physical, safe in the emotional, safe in the mental, and safe spiritually speaking. Because these types of relationships are trauma-inducing and causes wounds in that very energetic system that we're talking about. So today, I wanted to break down the chakras and look at each individual one and how that paradigm of empath and narcissist, and both of these energies are born of trauma. So it's a generational trauma that gets passed down generation after generation after generation for thousands of years. And what happens is a child is born and is raised by somebody that has narcissistic energies, and they have one of two choices to make for survival. One, I emulate and I repeat that narcissistic energy, and in so doing, I protect myself by projecting outwards onto somebody else my wounds, my hurts, and this and that. And so this energy is a much more, there's a give and a take. I'm giving my shame and my blame, and I'm taking all what I want energetically from the other person. And this is an opposite energy of I'm going to take your shame, your blame, and absorb it inwards. So it's self-wounding, external wounding, self-wounding, and I'm going to project out like a filtration system. I'm going to project out to you all my love and admiration. So people who resonate with the term empath have found themselves having a long-standing history of interactions with people that are narcissistic, because it's a cycle. It takes two ends of the duality of this paradigm for it to cycle and repeat and cycle and repeat. And so please check out some of my earlier videos if you're wanting to know more about the paradigm of the empath narcissist. Today want to focus more on how that paradigm, how that cycle plays out in each of our chakra system. And each of our chakras, the 7 main chakras that are in our body, we have a lot more, but I'm talking today strictly about the 7 main chakras, and how each of the chakras has its own wound that occurs, and how that plays out, okay? So starting, and just before I begin, if there's thunder and lightning, I do apologize, but we're in the middle of a tornado. So as the outside world is stirring up all the stuff, we're going to stir up energetically all the truths that are laying hidden in the chakra system. So no better time to talk about this than while we're enjoying a tornado. If I start to see a tunnel come towards me, I might take off. Hopefully everything is fine. I'm sure it will be. So starting with the root chakra, Well, what I'm going to first say is every single chakra has a right. Okay, so there's certain rights that we have, certain fundamental truths, and they may not be based upon what you think your rights are in the world, but we do have 7 rights. And the first right on the root chakra is the right to be, the right to exist. That your very existence is a right. And what happens in a narcissistic empath paradigm is the narcissist uses certain techniques, one of which I already talked about, which is projection onto the other person of this is how I need you to show up in the world. In so doing, steals your right to be, your very right to self, your own sense of identity. So it projects on to their children, which has been projected onto them before, a triangulation that occurs, and one child will fall into the role of the scapegoat, and you can do no right, and you must carry the family's shame, you must carry the family's wounds, you must carry all of the things that I don't want to carry. Everything that was put upon me as a child, or I feel in me that I don't want to feel, I don't want to recognize, I don't want to look at, I'm going to put onto you, I'm going to project onto you all the negative energies. And then on the other side of the triangulation, I am going to create a golden child, and I'm going to project onto you all of my greatness, all of my adoration, all of the things that I wish that I can do, and I'm going to vicariously live through you. So it's like puppeteering. So you've stolen the energy of the right to be, the right to exist, the right to be yourself, your soul's person, and you've been imprinted with a role, a characterization of what you need to play. And that is monitored or held in place by other behaviors such as raging. A narcissist can get it when you try to step out of that role in any way, shape, or form, you will be raged at, absolutely. So there's a power dynamic of, parent-child, parent being in a role of absolute power anyways. And it's like even physically, if you think about it, when a parent rages at a child, they are larger, they are louder, they are stronger, they are everything. And so the child shrinks in upon itself. The self, the egoic self, has to come into creation to protect that child because the self, the truth self, the authentic self, the soul self, it develops a serious wounding within. And so hence, in that moment, boom, ego is born, and boom, the divide between I am going to cope through empath, using my empathy to constantly read the situation to protect myself from those energies, or boom, I am going to become hyper manipulative and learn how to manipulate off of you. So you can see how these characterizations and these roles that are placed upon you, and we've lost light, that's okay, are a situation of creating woundings that further perpetuate out the paradigm of the narcissist and the empath. So we've got 2 tools at play: projection and raging, to completely and utterly steal the energy away from the root chakra. And root chakra is all about safety, security, tribal consciousness, and feeling safe in the world. And so then is born a bunch of fear. Fear. We take away authenticity and truth, and we replace it with a whole bunch of fears because the world is no longer a safe place to be. Moving into the second chakra, the sacral, is our right to feel. You have a right to feel your feels. no matter what your feels are. And this, you can see, is a wounding that has perpetuated not only generationally, but culturally, societally. We shut down individuals' right to feel pleasure, but also right to feel displeasure, right to, so a child might be feeling scared, feeling overwhelmed, feeling angry because there's abuse that's happening. And then what happens is you're immediately told to stop doing that. Shh, pull yourself together. Don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about. And so you're directed so there becomes an enmeshment that occurs. So the sacral chakra is also all about boundaries. And so if you've had your right to be taken away, and now you've had your right to feel taken away, you have no boundaries of where my beingness begins and ends, because you're infiltrated in and told you can't feel those ways. So you become enmeshed through no boundaries. You don't get to feel that way. You're wrong in feeling that way. And then you get rejection as a means of a tool used, as well as reactionary abuse to keep you unstable, because as you become unstable, they enjoy that energy of like, oh, look, I've made you cry, and oh, I can make fun of you now. So sarcasm might come into play because they take pleasure. So this is the pleasure center. They take pleasure out of your pain. Your pain gives them a sense of, haha, this is funny. So ridicule, sarcasm, name calling, reactionary abuse, which is to hurt you. And then when you react and then you go, look at you, you're so out of control, this, that, and the other. Are all types of tools that a narcissistic person will use to, again, steal. It's about stealing energy, steal and rob you of your right to feel your feels, and thus disabling your guidance system, your own ability to guide yourself in the world of, this feels good to me, this is safe to me, this isn't safe to me. And so what it does when you're disabled in your feeling center is you no longer have an ability to trust self. Your intuitive voice gets shut down because you're told you're wrong all the time. You're wrong if you feel this way. You're wrong if you feel that way. You're reacting wrong. And so then what happens is the birthplace of codependency. You become reliant on the very person that's telling you you're wrong for guidance, because your guidance system has been shut down. Your feeling center is your GPS. And they disconnect that and rob you of that. And in so doing, make sure that you then get hooked into their guidance system. So they'll tell you when you're right, when you're wrong. Is this person a good person? Should I trust this person? Should I not trust this person? What should I do? Yes. If you have difficulty making decisions for yourself and difficulty reading situations, and you keep asking yourself, why do I keep bringing in these horrible situations with these horrible people? It's time to start sitting with your feelings. It's time to start regulating and reconnecting with your own GPS system. The third chakra, the solar plexus energy here, is before I hop on, I just want to add one more tool that they use in that sacral is the tool of guilt and guilt tripping. Because when you do try to pull away, they'll use guilt to pull you back into a state of codependency. So pay attention to how guilt plays out. Jumping ahead to the solar plexus. This is your right to act. So your right to make decisions that are best for you, and the right to follow your own intuitive guidance. So our intuitive guidance is out of place. So now our right to ask. So making decisions becomes almost community effort. Do you find that you are out in the world asking multiple people, what do you think about this situation? Do you think I should take this job? Do you not think I should take this job? I'm not entirely sure, because the message that is given to you through narcissistic abuse is you are incapable. And not only are you incapable, you are worthless. So in the solar plexus energy, a narcissistic person will use the tools of minimization, making you smaller than what you are, making you less than, devaluation. Any wins that you have in life will be minimized. They'll be, you come home with a grade that's 95 and they'll be like, well, where's the other 5%? Instead of, yay, you got 95, that's amazing. So everything becomes devalued and focused on the absence of what you failed to do instead of what you did do. So you internalize, I am a failure, I don't make good decisions, I'm incapable, I can't do anything and they may even be saying this, my mother actually told me I am worthless and actually told me I am incapable. She used those very words. So as well as the fact that this is where we have that siphoning energy of shame. So a narcissistic person projects onto the empathic person who's taking it in all the energies of shame, of you're not good enough, you're useless, you're not smart enough, you're not good looking enough. They'll insult you any way you can, and insults can come in a very backhanded compliment kind of way, because backhanded compliments are like, well, you could look attractive if you put on a little bit more makeup. Would you not even think about making a little bit more of an effort? Don't do such a half-assed job. These types of things are shaming the person who's trying to do something, and it's a way to devalue it. So shame is housed in the solar plexus, and it's like the little bug that shrinks in upon itself. And over the years, I became so shrunken in upon myself, I developed a buffalo hump. So I had to learn with my posture, and it was easier for me to recreate the posture and get those shoulders back and get your chest up, to cultivate pride as opposed to shame, to shift that energy. So as we do healing work on the body, the energetics of these emotions begin to correct themselves as well. So please check out the body playlist, okay? Because body is the first and foremost in helping to correct a lot of the damage that has been done. The absence of energy, we need to replace it with new energy. So getting yourself and doing aligned walking. If you don't know what aligned walking is, please check out my playlist, The Body, and there's many videos on that topic. So the heart chakra, we have the right to love and to be loved. And that is a beautiful energy when healthy, but in this empath narcissist dynamic, what it happens is there is a devoid of empathy and loving, kind, caring compassion. So it is stolen from you. You don't receive these types of energies when there is a zero empathy. And I can remember, I always, it was like, I desperately want to try to elicit empathy from people. And I'd be like, yeah, but this happened and this happened and this happened. And what boggled my mind for eons, because I couldn't understand what was at play here, is whenever I was bullied or had a bad situation occur to me, is my narcissist actually empathized, my narcissistic mother actually empathized with the person that was hurting me. Well, what did you do to them to make them act that way? Well, I'm sure it was your fault in some way. So yes, empathy was present. It just wasn't present for me. And so this creates a deep wounding in the heart chakra, which sends the message to that inner child that you are unlovable, which she also said, you are unlovable, you are undeserving, you are all these energies. And so we take on maladaptive coping mechanisms like smoking, which I've talked about loads of times as a means to help soothe that energy there, because we have been robbed of our right to be loved, and therefore we go through life not knowing what love is. What is love? What is this self-love that people talk about? How do I do that? Where do I get it from? You can't know love if you've never been shown love. If you've been shown the absence of love, all you know is the absence of love. So the quest, the hero's journey into self, requires learning things that nobody has ever showed you how to do before. And I have done loads of videos on the processes of learning to love the fuck out of yourself. And it starts with loving your body, then loving your emotions, and reparenting yourself through the process of trauma release, and reprogramming the mind, and seeing, if I'm talking to myself in any way, shape, or form that is negative, self-criticizing, self-loathing, self-hating, judgmental, none of those are love. So I need to learn to start loving all of myself. Love myself while I'm angry, love myself while I'm crying, love myself while I'm fearful, love myself when I make mistakes. Learn to take accountability for myself, my mistakes, learn to take ownership, learn all of these things. And it's a very difficult, arduous process. I've been on this journey now, of the self-love journey, for 3 solid years. And it still goes on, because it's not like, it's a quick fix and overnight you're going to all of a sudden learn to love yourself when you felt an absence of it throughout your childhood. Things like adoption, things like abuse, things like all these other things that I've mentioned before, the projection, the raging, the reactionary abuse, the minimization, the devaluation, the zero empathy. Where's the love? I love that song, Where is the Love? It's absolutely fantastic song. Go listen to it again. Black Eyed Peas, I think, does that. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, Where is the Love is the song for today. Moving up into the throat chakra is our right to be heard and our right to speak. And this one is a particularly hard-hitting one for me, because my throat chakra would have been very disabled. And even if you watch my videos over the last 3 years, I've gone through a process of finding it very difficult to talk at times. A lot of ums, a lot of uhs, a lot of fear, a lot of nervousness, a lot of I can't say that, and what have I... So my right to speak has been like me clawing my way out of this being shut down, not being heard. And some of the tools that they use to do that is to have basic negation. I'm going to just completely negate whatever it is that you're trying to say. And they negate in a manner that is very hurtful. As well as I want to talk a little bit about stonewalling, or the silent treatment, because that is a very hurtful, cruel, well, all of these abuses are, but that's a very hurtful and cruel way to shut somebody's ability to speak down, is to simply not give them any attention whatsoever. To stonewall is to say, yeah, I'm not even going to discuss this. Go to your room. As a child or in a relationship, it might play out like you try to say, hey, we have a problem about something and I'd really like to discuss it. And they immediately turn it around and go, why do you always have a problem with something? So now you're no longer discussing what the problem is. You're discussing you having a problem with the problem. which never means you ever get to address the problem, so you're never ever heard. And then silent treatment is one that has played out in my life repetitively, that is insanely hurtful, because it says to the person that you don't even exist. You don't have a right, you are nothing. So what has happened, a couple of examples, is I've come forward and I've said, no, I'm not taking that, that's mean, or something like that, and they don't apologize, they don't take ownership. They simply silent out, tap out. Maybe in a relationship you've had somebody that's just completely ghosted you and walked out and without a word, without any acknowledgement whatsoever, which sends the message, you are nothing. You are nothing. You have no right to even my response, let alone my apology or my acknowledgement or my changing of behavior. I'm just going to play the game of time. And the game of time is eventually, because I've pre-programmed you in your earlier chakra to feel this enmeshed energy, eventually you're going to come back and you'll just drop it. So it's like waiting out. I'm just going to wait it out until you drop what you're saying. So when I cut my mother off, never once did I receive a phone call. Never once did I receive, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's up? No. It was a waiting game, and who's going to play the waiting game longer? And so you may find yourself in this waiting game with somebody going, but why don't they respond me? Okay, I'll reach out, maybe I'll try again. And every time you reach out and try again, you get the same message back, which is you are nothing. And that completely destabilizes and shuts down your own authenticity. If you no longer have a right to communicate your truths are robbed from you. The third eye also ties in a little bit to truth here, because it's your right to see. So first, our right to be heard and communicate, but this is our right to see, and this is where gaslighting comes in. And now I've done a good few videos on gaslighting, and it is the most horrid form of torture that you can possibly imagine, that you can't even fathom why any human on the planet would do such a thing, is to rob you of your reality, to tell you what you see, think, and feel isn't what you see, think, and feel, and that in some way you are misinterpreting the situation, is head fuckery on the nth degree, and gaslighting is inexcusable, absolutely inexcusable. It is a form of torture that it robs you of your reality. So you're no longer living in the same world that everybody else is. You are living in a bubble of a concocted fantasy that is concocted and fed in from a narcissistic person. And so if this type of energy is at play and you're wondering more about gaslighting and if it's happening to you, please watch my videos on gaslighting. Please get yourself into an environment, because it takes a very, very long time to heal from extended gaslighting. And even the term gaslighting, although it's referring to gas lamps, it's almost like you're getting gassed, and you're so like boggled and confused and mentally fucked with that it causes serious actual brain damage. And now I am not just making that up. It actually causes brain damage. It makes the size of your amygdala larger. It has your cortisol levels flowing. It keeps you in a state of fight or flight response, because you can no longer see and trust your own reality. It is like living in the twilight zone, and it is cruel upon cruel. Well, all of these are. All of these are sexually cruel types of abuses. Lastly, we have the crown chakra, and this is our right to know. And so, yes, gaslighting ties into this one as well. And some of the tools that are used by a narcissistic person are lies, manipulation, and religious abuse. In my case, being told God doesn't exist. There is no, was what I was coming from, but can easily be the opposite of saying, you need to adhere to these strict regulations and within this harsh moral code. And so what is happening now is a lot of people are jumping ship from their religion and saying, whatever that definition is of spirit is not my definition of spirit, is not my definition of God. I'm out of here, because this is a means of control. There are a lot of control mechanisms, and this is where we get into like cult mentality. And a narcissist is like a cult of one. The cult of one. You are the follower, and they are the leader. So be aware that this right to know, you're not given reality. You're not given the facts. You're not given the truths so that you can make appropriate decisions. How can you make decisions, solar plexus energy, if you're given misinformation? We can only make the best decisions for us if we're given the information that we have. Had I been told that my ex-husband didn't love me, why would I have married him? Right? I wouldn't have. I absolutely wouldn't have. Had I been given the truth from day one, I wouldn't have done the things that I did. So I'm not going to beat myself up for making the best decisions with what I could with the information that I had. I didn't have the information. So please don't be beating yourself up if you're feeling like, how could I have not known? And how could I have done this? And how could I have? Well, easily. You were lied to, you were manipulated, and you were fed misinformation so that you could make choices based on wrong calculations. That's simple math. If you're given the wrong numbers, you can't get the right solution. You can only get the right solution if you're given the right numbers. And so this is another cruel technique that keeps all the cycles on all the levels of the chakras spinning in the betterment of the narcissistic person, siphoning off the energies that they require and shoving back into you all the energies that they don't want. So, what can we do about it? Number one is understand that you have these rights. So I'm going to repeat these rights so you are aware of them. You have the right to be. You have the right to feel. You have the right to act. You have the right to love and be loved. You have the right to be heard and to speak. You have the right to see, and you have the right to know. If any of these rights are being violated, you have the right to walk away. You have the right to boundary up. You have the right to make your own decisions that are in the best interest of you for your health and well-being. You have the right to seek reciprocal energy and be loved and learn to receive love. What is that? What does that even feel like? You have the right to communicate. And if communication isn't being served back to you and somebody is silent treatmenting you, that is not love. That is cruelty. You have the right to see. And that is going to take some time in isolation to re-regulate all of these energy centers, which is why on this awakening path we're put into this cocoon so that we can re-regulate all of these energetic centers so that we can see truth for what it is. And when you start seeing it, the healing path takes time. Oh my God, does it take time? I read something recently that the healing can hurt more than the original wound. And that is most definitely true because it takes a longer period of time to grieve all of the losses because you loved in goodness and saying, this is who I am, love me. I want it to be different than it is. So acceptance, radical acceptance is required for you to see that it's never going to be what you want it to be. It is what it is. And when we see that it is what it is, we can then make decisions based on the actual numbers and have a knowing from wisdom, from our own wisdom, a knowing from that combined intuitive and combined knowledge centers, which help us connect to our own highest source and our highest timeline in alignment with soul. So if you are challenged with any of these issues and any of this has sparked something for you and you would like to book a one-on-one Zoom with me, the way to do that is in the description below. You have my utmost empathy, compassion, love that I can give you. If any of this is resonating as truth for you, I'm sorry if it's been a little hard-hitting. But I wanted to get the message out as clearly and as concisely as I could so that you would hear it, because cognitive dissonance, which is when we're not knowing, we're not in a state of knowing, we're in a state of, is it this, is it that, is it this, is it that? And it's like being punched over and over and over and over and over and over again until you have memory loss, until you have confusion, until you have health issues, because it dribbles on down through the chakra system. And if these things are out of balance, you'll end up where I was at, which was overweight, diabetic, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, irritable bowel syndrome, migraines, memory loss, fatigue, depression. List goes on and on and on, because you cannot separate out the experience of abuse from the experience of the body. So the body knows the score, and as we heal the body, we heal and make our body safe, make our emotions safe, make our mind safe, and so get into a place of safety, and together we can learn to love the fuck out of ourselves and transmute us out of these abusive paradigms, cutting the cycles, disabling the duality of this paradigm, and stepping into alignment with our own health, wellness, and vitality. So get in touch if you want to book a one-on-one with me. If you would like to leave a question, please do. I will address that in one of my upcoming videos. If you want to join the support group over on Facebook, please hop over there and join us. And thank you for all the likes, the shares, and the subscriptions that I receive. My very right to be and my very right to provide and speak my truth and be in alignment with my soul's mission has been a journey and a half for myself. So to have all of the support that I receive back saying, hey, job well done, so that I can show other people, hey, it is possible to escape from this type of shit, then it makes all of the pain and all of the experiences that I had down here in Narcissistic Earth School worthwhile. It actually makes it worthwhile. And I can be like, okay, this makes sense to me why I had to endure all of this stuff, because now I can help other people escape from it too. And I want everyone to escape from it. I want the narcissistic people to escape from it, the empathic people to escape from it. I want everybody to find their way back to soul, to find their way back to source, to find their way back to peace, love, joy, bliss, and make this world a better place. I want it for everyone. That's what I want more than anything else in the entire world, is for people to find health and wellness, no matter what side of the spectrum you've been playing at, and find ways. And if you are on the narcissistic side, I did a video a while back, I think something along the lines, are you narcissistic? And I used the teachings from the AA program in regards to radical acceptance and radical accountability on how you can correct some of the mistakes that you have made to bring yourself back into alignment with the light. And I challenge you to do that. You know, the more people that stand up and say, hey, listen, I'm a self-actualized narcissistic person, and it's happening. You can see around the world. There are examples out there that say, hey, listen, I'm a professed and I am diagnosed with this, and I'm sharing with the world some of the things that I have done so that I can help other people escape from this, because it doesn't need to be a life sentence. Neither of these ends of the paradigm needs to be a life sentence. Both of these have the capacity to heal and to break the cycle of this kind of abuse and transform humanity into a much more heart-centric, a much more balanced, a much more beautiful and safe world for all of our children. That said, peace out.